think he was just like my role model, or like the person that I looked up to the most. And that's still him. Like, I mean, he's definitely the reason why I started making music, like playing the guitar, just being interested in it more and more, just because I wanted to be more like him. It's that full circle moment. I mean, I started making music as a kid, but then he started playing the guitar, so I wanted to play the guitar, and whatever he did and whatever he learned, I was like, I want to do it too. Yeah, I feel like we just complemented each other very well. Making music together wasn't just something we did. For us, it was a way to feel connected to one another, I guess. And now, even though he's gone, it's like music has become my way of keeping our connection alive, if that makes sense. From writing these songs to sharing them, it just feels like the most natural way to introduce myself as an artist. It's like the reason why I write my music, but it's also kind of like the reason why I am who I am today. Even like from times that I don't remember, like as a baby, for example, I feel like whenever I look at pictures of us, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that I feel so deeply connected to him, just because he loved me so much, and like he was one of the very few people that really was there from like day one. Losing him so early never crossed my mind. To me, it just didn't seem possible that he wouldn't be here anymore. Like, it literally came out of nowhere, and you never think that something like this will happen to your family. It didn't break our family, but it did change us in a way that you can feel in everything, and it hurt each of us deeply. It changed every family member a lot and reshaped our family dynamic. And for me, it felt like I had to grow up so much faster because of that.
Ihr lacht Daddy aus.
To be honest, I don't even remember writing the songs.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I feel like especially the first one was like pretty much immediately after Leon passed away. I mean, I was 13 at the time. Just remember being in my room, writing down my thoughts and feelings, and then it just turned out to be a song. I don't know. My thoughts were so loud and like those feelings were so strong, whereas in your day-to-day you just have to do stuff and you want to function, and I didn't want to add any more sadness to like my parents' sorrow and what they went through, which also I feel like affected the way that I kind of dealt with the whole situation. And I know that music has always been my way of processing feelings, even though I probably wasn't even aware of that as a kid. And I feel like it was the same for Leon. And that's why we just loved making music together, covering our favorite songs. And looking back on it now, I realized that his musical input at such a young age really inspired the singer-songwriter pop music that I make now, and I'll always be really grateful for that. But after his passing, it was like this, that I was like, okay, now I have something to like write about, but I didn't even think about it. It was just like the first song that I ever wrote was like Protecting Angel, which is probably gonna be the first single.
But I know you're still here, and you'll never disappear. But I just can't understand. Why can't you take my hand, trying to hide how broken I am inside, and I don't know how.
I feel like it represents the phase that I was in back in 2013 pretty well, just because sonically it's kind of like a mix of sadness but also like anger and like frustration, and like the fact that the one person that was always there is not there anymore, whereas I feel like the world just keeps on spinning and everybody is like doing their own thing, which doesn't really help because there's that one person that's not there anymore that kind of made my world make sense. The fact that I don't feel like I'm putting it out to share it with others, I just feel like was something that I have to do for me, like just release those songs and kind of get it off my chest, and also just like honor his memory and dedicate the whole thing to him. It's nothing where I'm like, now the world can listen to my songs. I mean, of course it's nice and hopefully it'll help others, but it's not like my main drive. I've always felt like going to a show and seeing your favorite artist live and listen to their story is where it gets really magical, just because the energy in the room is so unique. It's funny though, now that I think about it more, that performing my songs live with a band and rehearsing my songs brought these songs to life in a completely different way than ever before. I just think it's really important to let other people in on that creative process, whether it's in the studio or when it comes to visuals. Like, I'm so happy that I found people that I could trust, just because that project is so personal and makes me emotional and also makes me vulnerable, which I like, but obviously you need to be surrounded by the right people. And for me, especially having Luke and Brian on board made this whole experience so much easier. They just helped shape the vision that I had for this project, and without them, it definitely wouldn't have been the same. But now that it's almost finished, I do feel like it's exactly what I wanted it to be. Like the whole project, like all the visuals, the music. It's just like everything that I wanted and more. And I feel like if I had done it earlier, it wouldn't have been the same. Just because I probably wouldn't have done it with the same people. And maybe also not with the right intention, because I feel like earlier I maybe wanted to like push it just to be like, okay, I can't like wait any longer. But the longer I waited, the more songs I wrote, and now I even have like enough songs to potentially like work on another project in the near future. And also like the ideas that kind of arose throughout the process, like writing music to the poem and putting my brother's voice on the project. I'm just wondering if he should sing like the chorus part, the "Though I'd like to look down on the earth from above" by himself. Though I'd like to look down on the earth from above, I would miss all the people and places I've been. So I
Do you think he titled it that way on purpose? Should we title it the same? Because he did it like this. Because it's kind of fun. Yeah, maybe, yeah. It's cute. And then it also stands out. Yeah, it shows that it's really different. Okay. Because he kind of like changed the lyrics like only like a teeny tiny bit, so I had to like listen to the song and like write down exactly what he sang. Brian. Yeah. I mean, he was the first person that I really shared all of the songs with, and kind of like the whole story behind the project, and I feel like it was just like a great match. We got into the studio, I played the songs to him like on guitar, he was digging it, and we just added like loads of sounds.
That's it. That's the sound.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. Bass, drums. I played all the guitars. All the vocals, and he just kind of helped shaping the songs in a way.
Yeah, that one was a little much. I noticed it myself.
Which one?
I want to give a lot of credit to him just because I feel like the songs would not sound the way that they do if it wasn't for Brian, just because, yeah, we just clicked. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of the takes were pretty much untouched. Not that they weren't edited at all, but like we did use a lot of one takes, or like used long parts, like a whole verse or like a whole chorus. Whenever I performed the songs before, I kind of felt like I had to hold parts of it back just to be able to like get through the performance, even though my voice maybe was shaky, but I never really like bursted into tears after like performing like on stage somewhere.
So my name is Cheyenne Turner. Yeah, the first song that I'm going to sing is called Passion in Our Eyes. I wrote it a few years ago. It's about a loved one that I've lost and that I miss every day. So yeah, if you can relate to it, if you've ever lost somebody and you think of them often and it kind of breaks your heart, but you want to hold on to that pain just because it brings back memories, yeah, then I hope you can vibe with me. And yeah, I think I'm just going to start.
Whereas in the studio, like every freaking recording was so emotional, and I like, yeah, cried my eyeballs out after pretty much every one of them. Like, it was kind of like a one-sided therapy session, yeah, me and my guitar just like talking. I just thought it would be 5 songs, which is already like a pretty big project for like a first time release. But now that we added some more stuff and also like really touching visuals, I can really say, okay, this feels right and we don't need to like add anything more just because everything's already there. It definitely helped to also be able to just share it with somebody else. Because whenever like you're by yourself, of course, it's always lingering around or like inside you, but I think you just find ways to kind of suppress the feeling. And especially since the songs were written such a long time ago, like, I mean, it's been over 10 years since I wrote the first one. Of course, I've gotten used to like ways of singing them that wouldn't make me too emotional, whereas now they just sound completely different. And even now, every time I've heard them, every time I've, I don't know, rehearsed them with a band or whatever, or just like listened back to them, I was like, geez, I can really tell that there's like so much feeling in them that I just make myself cry just by listening to the recording, because I remember myself like recording them with Brian and just being able to like talk about it and kind of grieve in a different way.
What do your songs represent?
Yeah, I feel like they kind of represent like different stages of grief. I think there's like songs that are way more obvious than others, and like the sorrow and kind of sadness that's like within me comes out more. And then there's other songs that are maybe more focused on myself and like unresolved feelings. Yeah. I just always felt like he's still there, whether it means that he lives through me or I don't know. I kind of like feel his spirit in like other beings, like animals that kind of just like show up on the windowsill or like outside. You see something and you're like, this
can't be a coincidence that they just show up and like look at you and you're like, what are you looking at? Like,
You feel it, yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, the song also kind of deals with that idea of somebody watching you from above. I mean, it's so hard to say that you're disappointed in somebody that passed away because, of course, it wasn't intentional. And so I can't really say, okay, why did this happen? Because shitty things just happen and there's no explanation for them. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was always that one thing where I knew, okay, no matter what happens, we got each other's backs and we just, I don't know, we'll be there for each other no matter what happens to our parents or generally like in our lives, because we were pretty much the same age. I mean, I'm a bit younger than he was, but like, yeah, and it's kind of like that disappointment or like that sadness that he kind of like made a promise that he couldn't keep. But I mean, on the other hand, I'm like, okay, it's also not completely true because, as I said, I still feel like he's there. And I mean, I can also tell that that's true just because I still write songs about it and I still have stuff to feel and stuff to say about it. And I just feel like it comes from within, and it's, yeah, as I said, kind of like he lives through me, probably also through other people. It's not just me, but I don't know how impactful his life was, even though he died at like 17. It's like, for me,
on other people, you mean?
Yeah, like I don't know, I feel like people that knew him and that I still talk to occasionally, they're just, I don't know, they still have such a vivid memory of him. Yeah, it's just important to like keep those memories alive and like keep talking about the person. If you're going through something hard, or if you've, let's say, also lost someone close, and that's actually something that I talk about when I perform my songs live, I just tell people to take a moment to really think about that person and to give themselves space to feel everything, the good and the bad and the hardest parts, especially the hardest parts, just because in our day-to-day we feel like we have to be productive, we have to move on. Everything's so fast-paced and it seems like there's no time to just breathe and be in the moment, when in reality we don't have to do anything. We are allowed to feel those feelings and give them room. We should give them room, just because it can be so overwhelming and crushing to constantly hold it all in, and letting those feelings breathe obviously also takes a lot of energy and can be exhausting, but at the same time it can be so healing. So let's just normalize grief. Let's talk about it. Let's not think that nobody knows what we're going through. Obviously everybody has their own story, but there are so many people. It's just the way life goes that most of us have to deal with these topics.
What are you trying to show with your music?
That is a really good question. I think I want to show that grief isn't this simple path you just walk through and leave behind. It's more of a journey that really never looks the same for anyone, and yet somehow it's something so many of us can relate to. And all of those overwhelming feelings, they are super real, they can be messy, but they're also completely valid. And I feel like we just have to learn to accept that grief is a lifelong process and journey that changes with you, because I changed over time, I evolved, I grew up, and these feelings kind of grew up with me. This project for me has been about letting myself really feel all of that and finding a way to put it into music. especially after not always being open and honest with myself and suppressing these emotions and that sadness for a long time. I even found things along the way that I didn't expect, like footage of Leon and I and our family that I'd never seen before, just like little moments from when we were kids that I didn't even know existed. And these memories are so precious and brought Leon even closer to us. I mean, you probably know best how hard that hit, but yeah. I'm just excited to just start this journey as like an artist. Creating music that has so much of me in it has been a real opportunity to express what's been inside for so long, as I already mentioned. And it's not just about getting these songs off my chest, but it's more about connecting with the people who might resonate with these emotions and who might understand this journey in their own way. And sometimes I find myself thinking about my life and what it would look like if Leon were still here. But then I just don't want to picture that, because the thought of having him here and being able to talk, to laugh, to hug, to grow old together, it just crushes me now that I know that we'll never make more memories. But what I do know is that without him, without his life and the impact he had on so many people's lives, these songs wouldn't exist. And that first line of Protecting Angel, the first line that I ever recall writing, billions of people out in this world, but I couldn't care less. That's the truth of it. Leon's life, his energy, it made a difference that's still here. It's still alive in the people he met. And it means so much to me to reconnect with those people and to feel how unforgettable my brother really is. And I just want to thank everyone who keeps Leon alive by keeping his memory alive and close. And yeah, I don't think you can imagine how much that means to me.
So, thank you for the music, memories we will always share. So, thank you for the music, memories we will always share. It feels like you're still there. It feels like you're still there to care.
Yeah. That's the one. Shay. Shay in the house. Shay on the mic.
Would I like to visit the moon on a rocket ship high in the air? Yes, I'd like to visit the moon, but I don't think I'd wanna live there. Though I'd like to look down on the earth from above, I would miss all the people in places I love. So though I might like it for one afternoon, I don't wanna live on the moon. Yes, I'd like to visit the sea. I could meet all the fish everywhere. Yes, I'd like to visit the sea, but I don't think I'd wanna live there. I might stay there a day if I had my wish, but there's not much to do when your friends are all fish, and an oyster and clam aren't real family. So I don't wanna live in the sea. I could go back in time, meet a dinosaur, or move across the country, hear lions roar. There's so many strange places that I'd wanna be, but none of them permanently. So if I should visit the moon, I would dance on a moonbeam, and then I'd make my wish on a star, and I'd wish I was home once again. Though I'd like to look down on the earth from above, I would miss all the people and places I love. So although I may go, I'll be coming home soon. I don't wanna live on the moon. No, I don't wanna live on the moon.